This is just a quick video looking at making texture stamps for sculptures. I've recently been refining this skull which I made a few months ago, and I wanted to start adding some texture to the piece. If you look at bones, they're not perfectly smooth, there's actually quite a lot of texture to them, so I wanted to see if I could find a way of replicating that in the sculpture. Something that I've heard various people mention in the past is to try and use orange peel to add texture to sculptures. I'm not quite sure how they intend to do that, but what I'm going to do is actually pour some resin onto the orange in order to make a negative impression of the texture. Once the resin is cured, I can then use it to push into the sculpture and so add the texture that way. Now obviously my orange is round, and if I pour resin onto this, it's going to just slide off, so I need to find a way of containing the resin on the orange peel itself. So what I'm going to do is actually turn the orange peel inside out, so I've got a sort of dish shape that can hold the resin. Now I don't think my resin is going to stick to the orange peel, but just in case, what I'm going to do is give it a quick blast with this, which is a wax mould release spray. So I've left that to dry and I've mixed up some polyurethane resin, so I'm just going to pour a small amount onto both pieces of orange peel and then let it set. So I've left that for about half an hour and that's now set, and that's actually coming away from the orange peel really easily, so it looks like the wax release has done its job. So there we go, that seems to have picked up the texture quite nicely. So coming back to my sculpture, I can now use these two pieces to press into the clay and transfer some of the texture onto the sculpture. Now this sculpture is actually made out of monster clay hard, so I am having to press quite hard with this, but obviously if you're using softer varieties or different types of clay, then you might have easier results. It'd probably also be useful for me to add a handle or something like that to the resin piece, just so it's a bit easier to handle. So as you can see, that's transferring some texture quite nicely, but it is a little bit rough, so what I'm going to do, which is something I do quite often with monster clay sculptures, is to use a small blowtorch to actually melt the clay slightly and smooth things out. Oh, so there we go, quite a nice interesting little experiment. I think this might be a little bit too textured for a piece of bone, but I think this technique could work very well for skin or anything else you need to add texture to in a sculpture. You could also use the same technique by pouring some resin onto some crinkled up foil perhaps, or various other textured items that you want to use. So anyway, just a quick video, I hope that was useful, and I think I might actually have to have another go at trying to capture some other types of texture from various other materials. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.